Hello, 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 and welcome back to our final session in the Marketing Operations channel today. I hope you are going to stick around for the final speakers, but just bear with us for just one more session, and this one I know is going to be worth listening to. So I would like to invite in a good friend of mine, Joya Scarlata, who will join me on screen, hopefully just now. So Joya works for Interra Information Technologies, but that's kind of pushed that to one side because what this lady is going to tell you about is the wonders of artificial intelligence. And I know there's lots and lots of AI conversations and AI presentations that go on, but I know that Joya is superbly passionate about AI. And I'm certainly really interested in what you've got to say. Also, a little bit scared. I always find AI conversations like half peeping behind the sofa kind of. So I'm going to listen, I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to see what you've got to show, the AI world you have to show us. Over to you, Joya.
Thank you, Carla, for the lovely introduction. And hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great and is having a fantastic week so far. I wanted to thank Joel and his amazing team for organizing this conference. It's an absolute honor to be here. So once again, my name is Joya Scarlata, and I am very excited to talk about the current state of artificial intelligence in B2B marketing. But before we get started, I just wanted to give a quick introduction of myself and who I am. As Carla mentioned, I am the Director of Digital Marketing for a B2B IT service firm known as Interra IT. So the organization is based out of San Jose, California, but I myself am based out of Maryland. So I'm on the East Coast. And I consider myself as a budding AI enthusiast. The interest originally stemmed from me wanting to learn more about chatbots and its evolution. And then eventually this interest branched out into learning more about AI as a field and how it's impacting different industries. So I write about this matter, and I have given talks in the past about how the role of AI in marketing. So it goes without saying that AI is playing this pivotal, this important role across the board in different industries. And in marketing specifically, it's gaining considerable traction as it's seen as this, as changing the field as we know it. So I'll try to talk about that in a little bit. But for today's talk, I just wanted to cover the following: the overall concept of artificial intelligence and its different forms. How has artificial intelligence transformed or is transforming the B2B marketing landscape? What are some key trends that we should be looking out for in the future? And then ending it with a brief discussion on whether AI can help us become better marketers. So I know it's a lot jam-packed in the session. So without further ado, I'll get started. So it seems like wherever we turn, wherever we go, we are either hearing about AI or we are interacting with some form of it. And there are some pretty mind-blowing statistics out there to prove this point. So for example, I read that by 2025, so that's only 4 years from now, it is predicted that the overall AI market is supposed to be valued at about 190 billion US dollars. And that slightly over half of businesses are looking towards AI, are planning or evaluating it as a strategic priority for them. So we get it. AI is pretty much here to stay. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. But I first wanted to take a step back and touch upon 3 key points to help us get a better understanding of what AI is. So firstly, how do we define artificial intelligence? Now, I recognize that there are a number of definitions out there, but I just want to give a very simple, a very non-technical explanation. So at its core, AI, it can be defined as a computer program or a machine that thinks and learns like a human. It's as simple as that. So the goals of AI are essentially to mimic human cognitive activities. So in areas such as learning, thinking, and reasoning, and also perception. Secondly, it's important to recognize that AI is an extremely broad field. I mean, I'm still learning about it every day. So it's best to view it as this umbrella term where there's a number of branches and subsets that fall underneath it. So this image is just a partial image. It doesn't encapsulate all the different branches of AI. I just wanted to focus on these two. So one is machine learning. Machine learning is a branch of AI that focuses on the use of data and algorithms to imitate the way that humans learn. So it covers patterns and trends. And in time, it gradually improves its accuracy. So a real life example of this in play is Netflix and its content recommendation system. So as you're watching TV shows and movies, it continues to provide recommendations based on your past viewing history. So that's machine learning at play. Another branch is natural language processing. So this is where computers, they understand, they interpret, and they manipulate the human language. And a simple example of this is your voice assistants at work, such as Siri, Alexa, Google Home. Thirdly, finally, I wanted to stress that AI in itself can be broken down into three forms. So the first one is artificial narrow intelligence, or weak AI. Now, this is where it's programmed to perform a very singular task, such as checking the weather or performing a math calculation. Artificial narrow intelligence is actually the AI that we see, that we interact around us. So the Netflix example, that's an example of weak AI. Now, this is where these systems are operating under a very narrow set of limitations or constraints. They actually don't mimic or replicate human intelligence. The next form is artificial general intelligence, or strong AI. Now, this is a concept where where machines with general intelligence can mimic human intelligence or behavior. So this is basically where AI can think, can understand, and learn like a human. And at this point, we really haven't achieved this type of AI yet, nor the next type, which is artificial superintelligence. Again, this is a completely hypothetical scenario where machines, they become self-aware, they surpass human intelligence. So we've probably seen this in movies like Terminator and Skynet, but I don't know or think we'll get to this particular point in anytime soon. So now that we have a bit of understanding of AI as a whole, let's dive in and talk about how it's transforming B2B marketing. Now, we have to recognize one reason why it's playing this pivotal role in transforming industries is that the AI tools that are now available in the market is allowing us to uncover insights. So in turn, organizations are able to now work more, say, efficiently, and they're able to allocate resources more effectively. And B2B marketing is no exception. In fact, over the past few years, marketers, an increasing number of marketers are turning towards AI. And there's a few reasons why. One is it can help with content marketing. So AI can help marketers curate and scale up their content marketing at a greater scale. Also, by analyzing data, so past and historic data at hand, AI can also allow for this hyper and real-time personalization. So this allows, in essence, organizations to offer their prospects, to offer their customers a very targeted, a very unique customer experience. And also, by being able to predict customer behavior more accurately, it helps marketers and sales help source and nurture better quality leads. Now, there are a number of other ways or other areas where AI can help, such as social media or email marketing, but just for time's sake, I'm just going to focus on these three. When it comes to content marketing, I think we can all recognize as marketers that creating great content that is targeted, that is unique, and also that has the appropriate keywords, it can be time consuming, right? It can be a very drawn out process. And it's a matter of how can you make that content great, unique, and it can stand out from the rest. So one specific way that AI can come into play when it comes to your content marketing is your actual content delivery. So through content marketing AI tools that are available, it can go through your entire website, your social media channels, your past and present content library, whatever content that you have. And it can scan through it, it can organize it and categorize it. So basically, it helps marketers understand what content is sticking, what's working, and what's not working. And based on what is working, can optimize that and focus that on their target audience. When it comes to content creation and curation, there are a number of AI-powered natural language generation platforms out there that utilize machine learning and again can uncover patterns. You'll hear me keep saying this, patterns and trends that can again allow marketers to develop very targeted content. Predictive analytics basically uses machine learning to predict outcomes. So it takes whatever data they have, historic or present data, to help uncover and reveal future patterns. So again, by being able to predict future preferences and trends, marketers now have this knowledge to optimize their content and also personalize it. So I cannot take credit for coming up with this image, and I understand there's a number of images out there that illustrate the customer journey. But the point that I want to drive home is that we all recognize that there are a number of touch points to engage with the customer throughout the customer journey. And it's work. It's hard to sometimes keep the customer or prospect fully engaged from start to finish. And now this is where the importance of personalized customer experiences come in. Now, for marketers out there, we can recognize that it's imperative to really understand the wants and the needs of our customers and prospects, ideally before they do. So there are advancements in deep learning, which is a subset of machine learning that's actually allowing businesses to uncover customer behavior by essentially analyzing data from a number of different sources and then again uncover patterns. So basically by using AI, marketers are able to say move away from making assumptions now towards to making more data-driven insights by predicting customer behavior and patterns more accurately. Now, when it comes to say real-time personalization, what does that mean? It means that you're essentially providing your target audience a customer experience that is unique to their needs, to their preferences. So when it comes to, for example, B2C marketing, when you go to a retail website, for example, such as Amazon, you may see that it's providing you product recommendations. Now, this is based on your, say, browsing history, your buying patterns, what have you. It's somewhat similar to the Netflix example that I gave. So B2B marketing, you can actually leverage this type of information, for example, in your website's landing page, where you can provide relevant content on, say, future content that your customer or prospect should be viewing next. This also plays in well to how you can utilize AI to help better optimize your company's website. So there are, for example, advanced SEO tools out there that can scan your website, identify, say, certain issues, and help also provide suggestions on how to improve your search rankings. Also, you can use chatbots, and chatbots are becoming increasingly more advanced. And by using chatbots, you can be providing a 24/7, real-time, around-the-clock customer service to your audience. And as mentioned before, by providing very targeted content, you can be helping provide a very unique customer experience every time. Now, when it comes to any business, we can recognize that lead generation is so important. And outside of lead generation, a crucial element for, say, marketers and for sales is lead scoring. That is, how many high quality leads are we producing each month? And not only that, how many of these leads are actually being translated into sales? Again, enter AI. So it can help with AI, with the tools available, it can help B2B marketers identify which customers are going through that customer journey and which customers are most likely to convert. So by using predictive analytics, we can uncover trends, we can uncover patterns in their behavior, which can help sales and marketing optimize their lead generation funnel. So I always believe that, say, if your marketing and sales team, say, are operating in silos, by using these tools, it can help perhaps bridge that gap between the two teams by working together in this AI power lead sourcing process. So, okay, so we've identified a few areas where AI is playing a role in, say, transforming B2B marketing. And it can help, and identified areas where it can help marketers basically level up their game. But what is the reality on the ground? Is this actually happening at a wide scale? So we can all see that there is tremendous potential, but what's happening? So there was an interesting report that came out by Demandbase, came out rather recently, and it talks about AI and B2B marketing, and it identified a few interesting observations. One is that while there is excitement, there's acknowledgement of the potential of AI, surprisingly, the actual usage and implementation is still rather low in B2B marketing. Now, if there are companies that are, say, looking towards it, they still may be at the planning or evaluation stage. They also may not be aware of, say, any AI capabilities that, say, their vendor technologies use. So I would say that probably some of the hesitation to implement AI is that naturally with any technology, there is a learning curve. You're not going to see immediate results overnight. Also, some of the barriers that are still, I guess I would say, traditional barriers to implementation is the concern of cost, which is understandable. And then also the availability to have the right skills. I think sorry. Hold on. I think my remote control, the slides went off a little bit. Sorry. So so there's still traditional barriers that are out there that are impacting implementation. Also, there may be cultural, barriers or executive or leadership barriers that are there. But I'm optimistic. I think that in time, these barriers still may be lowered, and that we will see increased implementation in the near future. So with all of this in mind, what does the future hold for AI and B2B marketing? Well, I think there's a few trends that we should be on the lookout for. One is that I think this trend of hyper-personalization, it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. It's said that we're going to be entering this era of social prediction, where marketers will be using social data, such as customer sentiment. That is, what is being said about your brand, and can basically use this information to identify, again, patterns that can predict customer behavior months in advance. Also, with the wealth of data and information that is presented by AI, it will help marketers build these incredibly detailed personas and very targeted audience profiles. So as these audiences continue to grow, as they continue to evolve, these AI-powered tools will be able to identify and customize these personas and targets in real time. Finally, we should look out for email optimization. Now, I understand I didn't have time to talk about email marketing, but it's something worth looking at. So as email recipients, they interact with this content. Machine learning algorithms can help learn the behavior patterns and understand what will help lead to increased engagement. So marketers can use this information to help better optimize their email campaigns and allow for users to fully engage with their content. I wanted to just end this talk by asking this question, and this is something that is up for debate that we can think about after this talk, and whether it's the matter of whether AI can help us become better marketers. I know this is up for debate. I think this question is not necessarily straightforward. I think so. This is why I answered it both yes and no. When it comes to the yes, I think that AI can help marketers in a number of ways, such as scaling up at a faster rate at a wider scale. It can also help automate very routine tasks. And then again, by these data-driven insights, it helps marketers have more targeted information. It can help with personalization. However, I've seen discussions out there on whether AI can help us become more creative. Now, yes, I think in one way it can aid us in the creative process. I think there are tools, for example, that can help with copywriting. That's just an example. But I don't think that artificial intelligence can entirely replace the creativity process that marketers bring in and day out. I think it works, AI and humans work best parallel together, but I don't think AI can replace, creativity. So I know that this is a lot jam-packed in this session. I know I provide a lot of information, but I just wanted to emphasize the 3 key takeaways. One is that AI, you have to recognize it's a very broad term. There's a number of subsets and forms. And while there are areas where AI is transforming the B2B marketing landscape, there's a lot of potential out there. The reality is that implementation and usage is still low. And perhaps this will change in the future, and it's definitely something worth keeping an eye on. And yes, there are tools out there that can help us become better marketers, can help us become more efficient, but I don't think that it can help replace entirely that creativity process that we bring. So with that being said, I wanted to thank everyone for their time. I wanted to thank Joel again and his team. It's an honor to be here. And I would love to connect with you all on LinkedIn. You can search me under my name, Joya Scarlata. And I would love to keep this conversation going. AI is so relevant. I'm very passionate about it. So if you have any questions afterwards, please do not hesitate to reach out. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joya. That was absolutely fantastic. I can come out from behind the sofa now and have a proper conversation with it. There's been lots of chatter in the chat, lots of us talking about AI and the way we've seen it, and some campaigns that we've seen some really cool stuff in. And we've also got some very, very scaredy cat copywriters in the audience as well, but I'll come on to that in a minute. So as you just said, there's quite a low usage of AI in B2B marketing at the moment. Why do you think that is?
I think that when you compare, say, the usage and implementation, I can be wrong in this, but this is just my personal observation. I think that it's a little bit more prevalent when it comes to B2C marketing. I think B2B marketing, there might be just a lot of questions in play. As I mentioned before, there can be worries of cost. How does, bringing in an AI tool, how do we really integrate it into a marketing campaign? Now, and I think we also have to recognize that having an AI strategy, it's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all strategy. It's a matter of, you can't just, like, say if I have a company and I want to implement AI, I have to recognize which areas it's not going to necessarily transform my entire marketing strategy. So I might be able to start small with just a chatbot and improving my customer service. I think it's a matter, I think there may be a little bit of fear. As mentioned before, I think it's just cost. Do we have the right skills to really, if we have an AI tool, how do we best interpret the recommendations? How do we use these insights? So I think there's just a lot of factors in play, but that's not to say that as it may change in the near future. I think these barriers may get lowered, but that's just my personal opinion on it.
Yeah, I get it. And like, look, David McGuire's in the audience, and he's one of our the B2B copywriter gurus, who is terrified that the robots are going to come and take over his job. And I pull his leg quite a lot about it. But they're myths, aren't they? That AI is going to take jobs away from people. They're just myths.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it's a misconception. I mean, I don't want to say it's exaggerated. Or it's, we should dismiss this concern. I mean, I see this worry about it across different industries. It's just not marketing. And I don't think that, again, this is just my personal opinion. I don't think that AI will take away jobs at a very mass scale. We may see, one thing that AI is good at is automating very, routine tasks. So we may see that, say, jobs may those kind of jobs, may change. AI may, our roles, our positions may evolve into something different. So say if we're automating routine tasks, it may, for example, allow marketers to focus on a different area. It may give us more time to focus on something else. But I don't know. I mean, I understand the fear, but I don't think that we're at this point where AI is going to just completely take away our jobs at a huge scale.
Yeah, I like the way you said you don't think, the robots are thinking for us. That's why they're doing their plans in the background. They're going to take over the world. I'm sure of it. Okay, well, look, Joya, we are steadily running out of time now, and we're about to sort of wrap up and head over back to the keynote stage where we can finish off the day and lead out into our last presentation. So thank you so much for giving us some enlightenment on artificial intelligence, and you've given your details of how people can get in touch with you on LinkedIn.
Yes, you could just search for me, Joya Scarlata, Scarlata, and yeah, looking forward to engaging with you all. Thank you.
And please do engage with Joya, because she's super passionate about it, and they're the best marketers that we have. So once again, thank you very much, Joya. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. This is officially the end of the marketing operations stream for today. Head yourselves over to the main stage, the keynote speakers, where we can get ready for a bit of a wrap up and preparation for that final episode of the day. So thank you very much, and I'll see you there.
Thank you.